What's up? This is Noir Sephiroth, and we're going to talk about DNA and how we are not all the same. Um, Shout out to my BLACKBOOKT.TV followers. It's time. It's time. Come on, come on. Okay, blood types, that's what it's called. So, I'm going to break down blood types and how we're not all the same, and how they lie to us. So, BLACKBOOKT.TV, make sure you subscribe. Let's get to this research. So, as you can see, this is a chart by Daniel G. Bromelo in 2006, Essential Guide to Blood Groups, page 21, right? Comparison of European and African blood types. Now, this is what he says, right? The A2 blood type is minor compared to the main group A blood type, right? I'm adding in blood types so you guys can understand where I'm going with this. It also occurs in the African's blood type as well. Now, he's not only saying that A2 is minor compared to the main group, blood type group A, and it's opposite in the African blood type groups. I want you guys to follow me. He's not saying it's opposite in the African blood type groups. He is saying that the same way in the Europeans blood types, in the European blood type group, A2 is minor compared to the main group A blood type. He's saying it also occurs in the African's blood type as well, right? Now follow me. Blood type O, which is the oldest blood type, right? Or the original blood type, and blood type B is proportionally larger in Africans than in Europeans. Now that's where the shit, that's where the differentiation comes from. Blood type B and blood type O is significantly larger. You can see it on the chart. The English right here, the blood type B, if you look up at the chart right here, it's smaller, right? Compared to the blood type B that's in the Africans in Zimbabwe, right? Even the blood type O, there's not much blood type O's, right, inside of the Europeans at all, if not any, right? So where am I going with this? Well, what I'm saying is, of course, the original blood type will be with the Africans or just black people in general, right? Of course, the Africans and the Native Americans and the Caribbeans, of course it'll be with them. It would not be with the white person, because we already know that the white man was genetically spliced and created. We know that, the original. And we're going to get into that really, really soon in this video, okay? But the original white man was not created. He didn't evolve, because we already know that there's so many holes in Darwin's theory that we can't even start just from, the stupid shit that he says about natural selection. We can't even do that, right? We have to go totally somewhere else. So this is what they're saying, man. It also, so not only is A2 a minor blood type in Europeans than the group A blood type, but this also occurs in the African's blood type as well. The only significant difference is the black man or the black woman has the original blood type and blood type B significantly larger than Europeans, right? So let's continue. Now, this comes from the Smithsonian magazine, right? Scientists still really don't understand how and why such blood antigens, which would be blood types A, B, AB, right? All antigens. Still don't understand how still don't understand how and why such blood antigens evolved in the first place. Evolved. These blood molecules stand as a reminder that we still have a lot to learn about human biology. Damn! They even saying it. They say, yo, we don't even know. We don't understand how these... Basically saying we don't understand how these antigens got in our blood. That's what they want to say, but they can't say that. They can't say that. So they got a bullshit. Like, oh, we don't know how it evolved. No, you don't know how the antigens got up in there. But you can't say that. You can't say you don't know how those antigens got in there, because then we have to rewrite all the history. We have to rewrite all the biological and fucking everything. You have to write everything over. Physiological research, everything has to be rewritten. You know that. Because once you say that the original blood type is O negative and it comes from the black woman, and proportionally blood type B and O is within black people in general, then that means that, okay, well, where did these antigens come from? They came from a higher source. And being that the black woman was the original woman, you would then have to possibly admit that black people made your ass. That's what they really want to say, but they can't say that. So what does the Smithsonian magazine say? They say, well, scientists still really don't understand how such blood antigens evolved in the first place. These blood molecules stand as a reminder that we still... Shut the hell up. Stop bullshitting. You don't know how the antigens got up in there, because the original blood type O negative does not have antigens. So if it's the original blood type, where the fuck did these antigens come from? Forget evolved. Where did they come from? Let's continue. So, specifically, right, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about blood type B and A specifically, all right? And blood type B has an active... Now, if you have a blood type B, let's just say hypothetically speaking, or if you actually do, right? 9 times out of 10, you are of African descent, or just a black person in general, Native American or Caribbean, right? So, let's do this. If you're a blood type B, you have an active immune system, environmental adaptability, right? And nutritional wellness, moderate physical activities or sports, and balance. What does this mean? This means that you like to do sports. You have an active immune system, so you ain't really gotta worry about too many diseases or whatever. This is why black people have sickle cell. Most black people have sickle cell. And I'm gonna get into the science on that, right? But most black people have sickle cell, and for what? For adaptation, right? So we have environmental adaptability and nutritional wellness. You know we have nutritional wellness because, you know, all you gotta do is like what, 20 push-ups outside in the sun. We talking like 70, 80 degrees, and you're gonna look swole, right? So that right there is nutritional wellness, moderate physical activity. So you're into physical activities, you don't tire out too quickly, right? And or sports, and balanced, right? Now, if you're a blood type A, which are most Europeans are blood type A. If you're a blood type A, people with blood type A have a vulnerable immune system. So your immune system is not that strong. Oh, gosh, golly darn it. A good adaptation to environmental conditions. So, you know, it's pretty good. You can adapt to your environment a bit, you know, once you will change it up. You know, we all know what that is, gentrification. Anyway, good adaptation to environmental conditions, and nutritionally stable, right? So they got a good diet, right? People with blood type A. Do they have a good immune system? No. Are they physically as capable as a person with blood type B? No. Right? So let's continue. Is blood thicker than water? People always ask that. Is blood thicker than water? Actually, blood is 6 times more viscous than water. right? And the gravity of blood is slightly higher, right? Now, when they talk about gravity, we all know what they're talking about, guys. They're talking about magnetism, right? Because we are pulled. We have magnetism and electricity, right, which creates us, right? That's exactly what the sun is: electricity and magnetism, which creates light. All right. So, even certain sound waves, if you put it inside a bubble underwater, right, and if you have the right frequency, the right hertz, light can actually come out of these water bubbles. If you actually look this up, as a matter of fact, I can show you right now.
I was transfixed to look at this spherical flask of fluid, and you look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. It looked like a star in the heavens.
So as you can see, as above, so below. You know, when they talk about the waters up above, and he said, and God said the word, it was a specific frequency, which we already know. And if there's waters up above, common sense should tell us what these ancient books are telling us. All right, common sense, right? Now, let's continue on. Is blood thicker than water? Yes, that's the answer to your question. I know I went a little overboard with the video and shit, but I know y'all thought that was cool, so consider that a gift. Now, blood droplets, they run because of surface tension, which has to do with what? The magnetism, right? What they want to call it gravity. Now we know the bullshit. Now we know what's going on around here, right? Because at one time, doctors thought all blood was the same, which led to bad blood transfusions, right? So now we know the bullshit. Okay, now we know the bullshit. Now we know not only is blood actually thicker than water, right? It's not just a saying that was used in the 12th century, which is the oldest time you can date it back. But now we know the actual bullshit. Now we know what's going on here, right? At one time, doctors thought all blood was the same, which led to bad blood transfusions. Human blood and mankind blood are not the same due to antigens in the blood. Alright, we gotta stop the bullshit. Right? Oh, you bleed red blood and I bleed red blood, so we're the same. No. You got antigens in your blood. Same way as I do, but it's different antigens. Right? Depending on your blood type. If you're an O blood type, you have no antigens, and you're the original blood. So let's stop with the we are all the same, we got the same blood. No, we don't, because there's A antigens, B antigens, the AB antigens, okay? And doctors don't even know where they come from. So let's stop playing these games, alright? Let's stop playing this hold my hand, the rainbow, and Barney Land, and Teletubbies, and no, we don't got time for that shit. Alright? We're not all the same. Let's accept this. There's nothing wrong with being different, alright? Now I'm going to prove my point even more. Let's dig further. So, as you can see right here, we're looking at the chart written by Andis Collins, The Roots of Mankind, right? Now, he's an independent researcher. A great one if you ask me. Shit, right? He was talking about the, what factors into you having an A or a B blood type. Now, we're going to look at the A blood type on the left hand side. Alright, we're gonna look at the blood type A on the left hand side, the Australopithecus africanus, alright, which is a relative to the chimpanzee, right? And they also say that we are a relative to not only the chimpanzee but the Australopithecus africanus, which is on the left hand side, as you can see. Right now, this is a list of what they're able to do. Most people with this blood type, right, are not only what they're able to do, but what they normally do, you know, on a regular day. So people with blood type A, the Cro-Magnon man, the long-headed man, 4 feet, slim physique, left-handed, meat eaters, hunters, fishers, herders, nomads, temporary housing, individual cremation, follows the moon, right? So that's people with blood type A. Now, of course, the blood types have now amalgamated. So pretty much, anybody with blood type A doesn't just have a blood type A anymore, or just have a blood type B, right? But there is chances that you may primarily have more blood type A than blood type B inside of your system, right? Some people are AB, right? So when you look at the Australopithecus africanus on the left hand side, who's related to the chimpanzee, who's a blood type A, right? Also supposedly people with blood type A is related to, right? Again, Cro-Magnon man, slim physique, left-handed, meat eaters, right? So then when you look on the right hand side, what do we see? We see the Australopithecus robustus, who is related to who? The gorilla. What blood type is that? Blood type B. The Neanderthal man, the Homo erectus, right? Round head, tall, muscular, right-handed, vegetarians, food gatherers, settlers, permanent housing. So they're not nomads. They don't just travel around everywhere and make everywhere their home. No, permanent housing. Family grave mounds. Follow the sun, the stars. You know what I mean? So this is people primarily with blood type B and how they live, right? Or how they lived. Because we already know how the Australopithecus robustus lived, according to researchers, if they existed, because we know they really didn't. And then you have the Australopithecus africanus, and we know how they live, right? So the Australopithecus robustus is on the right hand side, right? The Neanderthal man is related to him, right? They're muscular, right-handed, settlers, food gatherers, right? Now this is people who are primarily blood type B on the right hand side, Australopithecus robustus, right? Now, we already went over saying that blood type A and blood type B are nothing but antigens inside the blood, which I consider fake blood, right? Because it shouldn't be shouldn't be a couple thousand, or my bad, a few different blood types. It shouldn't be that. It should be this blood type and we're all this. That's what it should be. Because if the original is O negative, we should all have O negative, but we don't. So there's some weird shit going on around here, right? So if we can trace blood type A, and the oldest trace is the Australopithecus africanus, and if we can trace blood type B, and the oldest trace we can find of that is the Australopithecus robustus, right? And the relative of the Australopithecus africanus is the chimpanzee, and the relative of the Australopithecus robustus is the gorilla. One being blood type A, which is the chimpanzee, one being blood type B, which is the gorilla, and they're saying we're related to these things. Yet the original blood type is O negative, with no antigens, no A antigens, no B antigens, no AB antigens. The original blood type is O negative, and it comes from the black woman. The question will have to be, where the hell did A and B come from? If the original blood type is O negative, where the hell did A and B come from? How did the Australopithecus africanus get their blood type, and how did the Australopithecus robustus get their blood type if the original blood is O negative? Doesn't make sense, does it? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because there's some bullshit lies going on, right? So I'm gonna say this one more time. When you look on the left hand side, the Australopithecus africanus is related to the chimpanzee. The blood type is A, and they say that the Cro-Magnon man, right, left-handed, slim physique, and we know that most people with blood type A are Caucasians, right? If the oldest blood type for them is the Australopithecus africanus, and when you look on the right hand side, right, it's the Australopithecus robustus, who is related to the gorilla, whose blood type is blood type B, right? Where did these blood types come from? If the original is O negative, right? If the original is O negative, where did these two other blood types come from? That's not a, conspiracy or nothing. This is an actual question. Nobody can answer. Now let's continue. Now, of course, before Dr. Sebi came on the scene, you know what I mean? Way before, and of course, this person didn't give us no diet or nothing like that. He just talked about specific things that we need to avoid, but he didn't give us a full, you know what I'm saying, pyramid on what we should eat, you know what I mean. But as far as the information, we have Mr. Dr. Ehret, right? Dr. Arnold Ehret. This is the guy who talked about the mucus inside the body before Dr. Sebi, and it's only because, you know, he was alive before Dr. Sebi. Anyway, so you have Dr. Arnold Ehret, who says, right, that what has been labeled white blood cells, this is him, this is what he says, not me. Dr. Arnold Ehret says what has been labeled white blood cells are nothing but uneliminated waste. Uneliminated waste. He supports his claims with the following observations. Pathology asserts white corpuscles are increased, which are white blood cells, by the way, are increased in case of disease. Number 2, physiology proves that they increase during digestion. Also, he finds they derive from high protein foods. Isn't that something? Right? He says white blood cells. He says white blood cells derive from high protein foods. That's a key thing right there. Need to really pay attention to. All right? They always tell you to get your proteins, get your, you know. And this is fucking some dead waste that's inside your body. I don't do shit. You think it's protecting you, right? The high protein foods are mucus forming foods. There you go. Right? If y'all don't know, mucus forming foods not only lowers your vibration, right? Not only makes you sick out of nowhere when the weather changes, not only gives you muscle cramps and shit like that, not only gives you osteosclerosis, right? But it also gives you white blood cells, right? High protein foods are mucus forming foods, right? Which are involved in the creation of white blood cells. This is not me. This is what Dr. Arnold Ehret says. Why don't you look him up instead of looking up your fucking, you know, local degree doctor who's gonna say anything to get a paycheck? Why don't you look at a real nigga? Dr. Thomas Powell, right? He explains it. I mean, my bad. Dr. Arnold Ehret, who explains it. Dr. Thomas Powell, though, he's another doctor, right? Dr. Thomas Powell explains, right, quote unquote, the biologic and physiologic and much of the dietetic and much of the pathological teachings of today are founded upon the assumptions that white blood cells is a living cell. Let's say that one more time. Thank you, Dr. Thomas Powell. I appreciate that, because they won't believe, you know, they won't believe no spiritual teacher, no occult teacher. They won't believe that. Who's a black guy with braids? They won't believe that. They'll believe Dr. Thomas Powell because he's a doctor. So we need people like you to be slaves to these systems, so we can not only get the truth, right, but so we can explain to some of these sheeps out here that people are lying to you, right? So here we go. Let's read that one more time, and then we're gonna continue. The biologic and physiologic and much of the dietetic. Okay, I don't even know if that's a word, but hey, he said it. Dietetic and much of the pathological teachings of today are founded upon the assumptions that white blood cells is a living cell. That means they're dead. Thank you, Dr. Thomas Powell, for explaining that. That it is within the tissue of the body, that it is a phagocyte, okay, which is a germ eater, right? Is it not entirely reasonable to suppose the mobility of the white blood cells is due to the forces not of life but of death, a process not of vital duplication but of chemical dissolution? Do you know what he's saying right there? He's saying that this shit was basically created. from protein foods. It's not even supposed to be in your body. If y'all understand what a chemical dissolution is, he said it's not even a vital duplication, which means it's not even a natural duplication. It's something that comes from somewhere else that's chemically made, most likely. And it was created to be in our body. Why? Who knows? Who knows, right? Because it's not to heal you, right? Given that white blood cells are nothing but waste inside the blood, what is the nature of blood when the white blood cells are taken out? What's the nature of it? When you take out white blood cells, now that you know that Dr. Thomas Powell told you, Dr. Eric told you, Dr. Sebi told you, now that these doctors are telling you, right, that white blood cells are not supposed to be in the body, mucus forming foods fuck up your body, high protein foods create these white blood cells, which is probably a chemical dissolution according to Dr. Thomas Powell, which is a chemical creation inside the lab. In order for your white blood cells to adapt to your body, your specific body and blood type, that would mean that, you know, it's not real. So if it's not real and it's chemically made, what's the nature of it when you take, what's the nature of your red blood when you take it out? What's the nature of it? How good is your blood when it's taken out? See, they don't want you to know that, right? Let's continue. So Dr. Thomas Powell actually says more, right? Let's do it. The colorless material in blood is dead waste. It is of the utmost importance that we begin to seriously consider the wrong cell theory. Far too many people have needlessly died and suffered, and as a result of the white blood cell theory. This means that our blood is most likely not red. Thank you, Dr. Thomas Powell. I appreciate it. So what these niggas are saying is, oops, I did it again. You know what I'm saying? They saying oops. You know? Basically, we made a mistake. We got caught pretty much. Because white blood cells is some bullshit. Right? It's bullshit. Thank you, Dr. Thomas Powell. So, we should know that these foods that have protein, which create the white blood cells, which are not living cells, by the way, right? That does not help you, according to Dr. Thomas Powell, right? These foods are toxic, as you can see. Dr. Sebi told you. Dr. Arnold Eric told you. Dr. Powell told you. How many more doctors gotta tell you, right? It's all bullshit, right? Also, we realize that our blood types is very important. Very important. It's very important. Okay? They want to tell you, right, that you're a blood type or a B blood type, when these A and B blood types are not even really real. It's not real blood, because we know the original, right, is O negative, right? There's a book called Bloodline of the Gods. Make sure you go get that. Go get Bloodline of the Gods, and y'all can see for yourself. This white dude, blue eyes, white dude, talks about how 15 to 16% of white people are Rh negative, which means they do not have no monkey blood, which means about 80% or a little over 80% of white people have rhesus monkey blood, which means they were genetically spliced. We genetically splice shit now. So if you're a part of that 88%, 85%, most likely you come from a family of genetically spliced motherfuckers, right? Only reason you're around today is because of melanin, right? As you can see right here, right? As you can see right here, this is a map, right? of where the O negatives are, right? Now, if the original blood type is O negative, which is the original blood type, wouldn't that mean the original people also came from that specific place, right? When we talk about Atlantis, we're talking about the lower part of America, which you can see right there, right? In Mexico, right? O negative blood type. When you go to South America, O negative blood type, right? O and A is across Canada, right? I mean, most of the United States is O. They don't want to talk about the Native Americans who are O negative or A. They don't want to talk about that. The Africans, you see, they talk about Africa being the first place. Yes, there is a O negative in Africa, but there's also a B there too. Australopithecus robustus. There's something going on here. Something going on here. Did the Atlanteans create? Nah, let's not even do that. This is BlackBookT.V. Hashtag BlackBookT.V. I will see you guys soon. Peace.